our artist in residence for the last 4 months, I believe, culminating in this exhibition, which has been great. And so today's the last day of Chris's exhibition, so we thought it would be great to have a question and answer with a real life artist. I know throughout Chris's residency he's certainly spoken to a lot of people, and that's been the great thing about having Chris working out of that studio just out the back there that in the past was used as a storeroom and now is used as a place of creation. So it's nice to have 45 Downstairs as not just a place of exhibition, but a place where artists can actually come and work. We're going to ask a few questions of Chris, about his background, about his practice, particularly of still life, and also just about the residency itself. So feel free to ask questions yourself. I'm just going to get the ball rolling, but if you'd like to jump in and ask some questions, please feel free. And if you don't have something in your hand that you'd like to drink, make yourself welcome. There's some bubbles or water or whatever. So enjoy this afternoon. So Chris, just to get us started, describe a bit about your background and how you got into being an artist.
It came around a long way. So it seemed like an odd thing to do painting when I was a kid. I was good at maths and science, so I just ended up finding myself doing maths and science all the time, like chemistry, physics and maths. And I ended up going to uni, and I could do science, I could do medicine, so I chose medicine. I did medicine for about 3 years, and then while I was doing it in the third year, I sort of learned to draw and learned why you would draw. And drawing is about communicating, and I learned that you could do drawings of stuff and fuss over it, or you could do a drawing that people could actually understand when they look at it. And so I just got more and more involved in it, and I sort of left medicine and started at night school and went really hard actually trying to learn to draw. So I had to go to life drawing classes, and I went to Howard Arkin's painting class at Cran, and then I got myself into a tertiary orientation course, a TAFE course, and that taught me painting, drawing, printmaking, photography, graphic design, filmmaking, all sorts of stuff. It was great, amazing course for 1 year at Cran TAFE, and then got myself into the BCA the next year, so that was about 85, and so I spent 85 to 87 at the BCA, learned to paint, and I started off with sculpture, and so I've got an interest in 3D sort of stuff, and a lot of my stuff is it's not very flat, it's very 3D sort of, so I ended up painting it, and within first year I moved from sculpture to painting, and then in third year I really focused on still life. I sort of got all the books out of the library, went through them all, and started narrowing down to what was I going to paint. I narrowed it down to still life, and then I narrowed down to still life. I just found this guy, Sanchez Cotan, who was Spanish from the early 1600s, and he was apparently the first still life painter, dedicated still life painter in Western European art. And he had mathematical arrangements of vegetables and things, so that really set me off, and I just basically copied him and became known in the school as the cabbage painter. And Gareth Sansom still calls me that to this day because he was the dean at the time. And I've been painting pretty well the same thing since then, and but obviously I've taken it to my own sort of way of looking at the world, but I've kept the black backgrounds, which is a really Spanish thing, rather than, you don't really see that so much in Dutch still life. But the Spanish have a thing about, I think the black background represents the unknown, and I think that's a big thing in, I don't know whether it's the mysticism that came from the Arabs that took over Spain, or Spain's a funny place, so it's just, it has that unknown quality, which is a portion of the canvas sort of thing. So if half the canvas is the unknown and half of the canvas is the known, then that's a philosophical argument in itself. So I think that makes a picture interesting. And the thing about these paintings is the black is not actually black. It's layers of glazes of red, and which dries and then green, which dries and then red, which dries and then green, which dries. Light travels into it, but it can't travel back out of it. So it's like when you paint black, it looks like black paint, but when you have these layers of things, the light goes in, but it can't get out. So you have this sort of, again, an unknown. It's something that the light just goes into it and goes away. It's like looking into space. There is no. And I always wanted to be an astronomer as a kid. That's what black comes from. Was that the question?
I think you've just answered every question.
Can I ask how long it takes you to do one of these? Like, say the lemons.
Yeah.
How long would it take you to paint them?
I often get asked that question, especially by students. I always say 3 months because, and that's not that you're stuck on one picture for 3 months. It's because you might be working on 5 pictures, but it still takes pretty well 3 months to do one because it's paint and it dries, and you've got drying times, and which depends on humidity and temperature. So there's different seasons of the year when paint's just, and a house paint is doing the same thing. It's just not going to dry. So
there's so much detail, and I was thinking how much.
Yeah, the detail's hard work, but then you've got to let that dry, and then you've got to go over that, and you've got to go over it again. And as you see these drawings, these paintings work, they're like, there's many layers of drawings on top of one another, really. And they go through really amateur stages. That's why a lot of painters will not let you into the studio to see what's going on, because it just looks really amateurish for a certain period of time. It's amazing when you get right near the end, and all of a sudden you feel like a genius because it's just coming up so well. Before it was just such amateurish crap. But that is the thing that you've done. You've actually done 10 drawings on top of one another to get this nice, beautiful painting. So I think a lot of people, when they go to paint, think it's really hard, but really it's just it takes longer than you think it would take. Sort of thing. I think if everyone spent as long as I do, I'd probably get just as good a job. Just overly fussy and patient, really.
Yeah, patient. Yeah.
It's always been.
It's not instant gratification.
Definitely not instant gratification, but the gratification at the end is amazing when you feel like you're really good at this.
And you spoke of mathematical formulas and symbolism and things like that. Could you explain some of the symbolism that's in some of these paintings that are here?
Especially the mathematical arrangement of fruit and veg, you said before, when you were looking into that artist.
Oh yeah,
He's done
the Spanish
mathematical
guy.
arrangement of his...
Well, he actually did it in a hyperbola, which is pretty serious maths. Or a parabola, or you can, when you're doing the composition, the typical composition still is pretty well a pyramid. So I like to play with what other possibilities there are, and you'll see in some things I do a pyramid, and some things I will. That was the idea of doing these lemons, was to have, and you would never have this picture back in the 1600s, to have an infinite sort of thing. It doesn't have an end, sort of thing. So things at that time would have been way more defined. What's the noise?
No.
Downstairs? That's what's called a kid.
The baby.
Same time.
So I think of all different, a lot of things, one composition will lead to another composition. So if a normal composition is this shape, then I might do a composition this shape, or do it in bands like that. That's a black band, and that's a real modernist way of looking at a painting. So you have a black band, a yellow band, a grey band, and another black band, sort of thing. So if you sort of go blurry like that. And then that extrapolates to the one with the oranges and apples. So that's the same thing, but then you've got, another thing that I see when you've got an arrangement like that is pictures of molecules and lattices. And semiconductors are all about the impurities of the different atoms that might sit next to in a lattice of other atoms, or get a diagram of diamond or whatever it might be. Or even in biology, you get membranes and layers, and if you see them described in subatomic detail, then you have these amazing lattices and things fit through things, and that's how cell membrane walls work and all that sort of stuff. So that's what's going on in my head while I'm sort of coming up with the things. And then you can have one object might mean something, two objects means another thing, three objects means something else. And that is not specific, like I haven't got any particular things that 1, 2 or 3 means, but they feel different. One thing feels different, like one kid, if you're surrounded by, if you've got 10 kids in front of you, it feels way different to have one kid in front of you, sort of thing, or the interaction of one thing to another thing. You can express it in still life painting, but you wouldn't notice that straight away. That's not the sort of thing you notice straight away. It's only if you own the still life painting you would notice these things in them over time, a lot of time.
Have you ever painted the Fibonacci?
Fibonacci number.
Can you just explain what that is?
That's Fibonacci's famous mathematician from, I don't know, 1800 something. Tell me more. And he's responsible, he can describe the way a nautilus shell might form, or a snail shell, or whatever. The segments can be described by his equation, but no, not directly. Might do that one day.
Or the golden mean.
Golden mean for sure.
Yeah.
That's a big one. But I'm never really specific with a lot of stuff. I sort of might start off with an idea like a golden mean, and then not necessarily stick to it, but you might start the picture. So you really do think about golden mean's great for where a table might sit, or how wide the black bit is, and how wide the white bit might be relative to the black bit. But I'm not going to get overly fussed by that stuff. But it helps. It really does help.
And just a bit more on symbolism, and things that
I'm pretty visual.
the subjects that you choose, and why they're portrayed in a certain way. Like
for instance, this guy.
Yeah.
The rabbit and bananas doesn't go together, and you don't really know why. And there could be a million reasons why, but one of the reasons, in my mind, is that they both sort of have a sexual or reference to sexual sort of thing. Like, there's the bananas could be phallic, like you could say that, but it's not. It's a stack of bananas, so that's not phallic. And rabbits do what rabbits do, and
They're bunnies.
and all that sort of stuff. And so, but their meanings are completely the way they might reference sexuality is completely different. So that cancels itself out. And I think that picture has an oddness about it because of things like that. It just doesn't add up, or something that cancels something else out. They don't quite feel right together, but it's fun to look at. It actually feels fun to look at for some reason. So that's another thing you can do in still life, play things off against one another.
But is the bunny actually a still life?
Yeah, apparently the bunny's not a still life because it's not dead. This is a live animal, and it can only be called a still life. Technically, if you want to get technical and really pedantic, it have to be dead. So there's a lot of pictures of dead hares.
It could be starved. It could be starved.
Could be stuff, yeah. A lot of people thought it was a taxidermy bunny. How do you get to sit there so long? I just
Take a photo.
put it there and took a photo of it. Put it there and then it jumped off and I put it back on and I took a photo.
But it's definitely alive.
It's still alive.
Did you de-sex it so there's not more bunnies?
No, she's just not allowed to meet any men, poor bunny.